So let's just hop right into it. So, because I'm really curious to your thoughts, because just hearing what you do with
Yes,
writing and doing some other things, I'm just really
yes.
curious as to this convergence, right? So, what could you please explain the convergence between blockchain technology and artificial intelligence? Or maybe how would you define it or describe it for our audience?
Of course. So I would say they both are extremely powerful technologies, right? I think blockchain has limited use cases, but those use cases are extremely powerful. They can solve real world problems in finance and many, many other industry. AI, I'm pretty sure, has many, many use cases, from, using it in the enterprise applications to even for users like you and me who may be using ChatGPT on a daily basis. That being said, I think there are many many companies they're exploring ways that they can leverage both technologies together. So as far as the kind of like a difference between the two and the kind of like core components that both technologies have, I would say AI is all about data, right? So it learns from data, it finds pattern, makes prediction, and even generates content, right? Like what you see when you use a ChatGPT, which uses LLM. Blockchain, on the other hand, I would say is built on security and transparency, right? So it uses an open, immutable ledger, right, where transactions are recorded permanently, and each blockchain network is protected by strong cryptographic algorithm, right? So this is really just a high level, how both of these technologies are kind of different. They have their its own components. They both have limitations as well. And me personally, since I've worked in both of this field, I would say, there are limitations. For example, for AI, right? I mean, as I mentioned, AI is all about data. It does need high quality data. And most of the time, you don't see the kind of transparencies, when you're working with the AI systems. So that is, I would say, like one of the limitations. Of course, many, many groups are working on solving that issue. Blockchain, on the other hand, I would say, it's more secure, but it can be slower, right? So it makes the real world applications more challenging. Yeah, so I mean, overall, I would say, I mean, this both technologies are doing a lot of innovative work in many, many industries, and both of these tech are here to stay.
So thank you for that.
Of
But
course.
so I guess when I, because that's exactly what I see. I see one, like, AI has an issue with you know with privacy and some of those things, but
Yes.
then I mean, but blockchain can is more secure, and so I see
Yes.
them really complementing each other. So
Absolutely.
are there any components or any key components that you would highlight between AI and blockchain that you haven't mentioned already, or anything that really will impact like their applications?
I would say the impact is really gonna be right. I mean, every technology, any technology you take, there's always gonna be some limitations. But I think what I would really want to highlight is the kind of the strength, that each and
Mm.
both the blockchain and AI has. So I would say I think there are many companies that are using both AI and blockchain in a way that they're just trying to get the best of both the world and trying to combine both of this tech and creating some innovative solution, right, that is I think solving some real world problems.
Yeah. And I know you've talked a little bit about the security aspect and how it improves the security. So is there anything you want to add as far as like the automation or efficiency as it relates to like different industries, whether it's finance, healthcare, or logistics or anything?
Of course. So I think when you put AI and blockchain together, you get something extremely powerful, right? You can pretty much think of it as like smart decisions are backed by trust when you combine the both. So I would say for security, blockchain can lock AI's insights in place, so that can prevent the kind of tampering, right? So because the blockchain can preserve the records, and so no tampering would be allowed on that. So, as an example, in banking, I would say AI can catch the fraud, any transaction that might be related to fraud. And then blockchain in the same case can keep the record secure. So together, I think, it can solve, that combined problem, for banking industry. As far as the automation go, I would say AI powered smart contract, right? So this is something people didn't hear about, 4 years ago, but now, as the AI is widely being adopted, this is something, one of the areas where people are diving deeper into figuring out if we can create smart contracts that are powered by AI. So what it really means is, smart contract in theory, they need some sort of trigger, right? And then, once you call those smart contract, they can execute a specific task. And when you bring AI into this mixture, right, you could actually add the intelligence, meaning, you may not need any human intervention, and depending on the what kind of use case it is, it can automatically trigger. So as an example, for insurance, right, this is once again, I think people are exploring in this specific industry, right? A claim can get processed without any kind of human approval, and
Mhm.
it can cut weeks and months of delay that you otherwise see in any kind of insurance claim processing. For efficiency, what I would say is AI makes quick decisions. I think this is something we all know, right? And blockchain can keep the data safe and accessible, right? So I can think of like a healthcare industry, right, where AI can predict patients' need, right? And then blockchain, on the other hand, can ensure that medical records are always accurate. So these are, I think, in some of the areas where I think, security, automation, and efficiency is something one would gain if they are trying to explore a solution using blockchain and AI.
So I know the one thing that I am thinking about, that I realized that I hadn't really thought about this topic. So I'm really excited that we're having this conversation,
Of
because
course,
I'm in education. I don't know if you know that, like my trade is education.
yes,
Like I've been an educator for over 24 years in the
amazing,
K-12 system, the traditional education system. And,
amazing.
so I was thinking about, maybe that's something I need to research, is how now AI, I know how blockchain is used in education, because that's kind of been kind of
Yes.
my interest in all of
Hmm.
this. But
Hmm.
now, like, how are we using AI? Because most of that is dealing with student data, right? And
Yes,
student
yes,
records, or there's credentialing and things like that
yes,
of that
yes,
blockchain. But now, like, what does this look like now that AI, and knowing that it's always been used, like it's AI is not anything new, but
yes,
now I think we're looking at innovative ways of using it
absolutely,
in spaces that we didn't before. And so
absolutely.
when you're talking about healthcare, I was just thinking about, you talking about the patient's data, I was thinking, man, like, now I need to really see, like, what are we really doing, like, because I'm sure it's different based on, institutions and what they've chosen to
Yeah,
use, and the software that they're using for their CRM that they're decided to use, and all those things. And so I'm just really like, oh, I need to do a little research myself. So thank you for
of course, of course.
for
I
that
think
silent encouragement.
absolutely. I think not just you. I think this is true for everyone. Now, so blockchain, I think with the blockchain, that was the case anyway. You have to keep up with all
Yeah.
the changes, that were happening and that are still happening. I think now, as AI has come into this mixture, things are even more challenging, right? I mean, people are developing solutions overnight. So I think I'm in the same boat as you in
Yeah.
terms of continue to do the research in all the development that's happening in both of this space.
Yeah, because I think I always research in isolation, like AI in education or
Yes.
blockchain in education, but to think about them layering those searches on, like adding some of the emerging technologies that are there. And so that makes me think about, also when I think about data, you talking about healthcare and patients data and all of
Mhm.
these things, I start thinking about, oh my goodness, like people can misuse this
Yes,
information. We have people programming, those smart contracts. We have people, currently, like, yes, AI may be able to do it, but right now, the majority, before we make that shift and that, this mass adoption, people are doing it. We have developers and things. So I start thinking about the ethical concerns, right? Or
Mhm.
the challenges that are there. So what are the major ethical or technical challenges around AI blockchain systems? Particularly like when it comes to privacy and
Okay.
data governance. And I always say, I know, the question I have, it says algorithmic bias, but I think about justice, right? So even
Of
that,
course.
like what does that look like? Like, what are some of those things that we need to start, looking into, learning about, researching more, as
Of course.
opposed to that, or paying attention to it, just aware that these are potentials or these are current, even maybe current, right?